Here, anyway, in North America, what is going to be happening in the U.S. presidential elections? What feelings do you get, or what psychic impressions do you get?
For me, I can just see everything's easing up. Things are going to start flowing more positively, and with the especially with the Middle East and what's been going on there, I feel everyone's uniting against terror. And if we continue down that lane, I feel that everything will start working itself out, and I can see in the next 2-3 years we'll see a slowing down of all of those disputes.
That would be wonderful, because, the way the world is right now, Helen, people don't know what's going to happen from day to day. We had last week a very tense situation where 10 U.S. sailors were basically placed under arrest by Iran.
Oh.
Yeah, and they were released because the Americans were able to use the threat of not releasing the $150 billion back to Iran. We also found out that there were 4 prisoners exchanged using this lever that the Americans had over Iran. But you know what? It's going to come to a point very soon where there is no more leverage. Now, in all fairness, Secretary of State Kerry did a great job. It seems that the threat of nuclear weapons being used by Iran has subsided. I'm a realist. I don't believe that it's taken care of. I believe that it's subsided for now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you, with your psychic impressions, how do you see what is happening in Iran specifically?
Well, so for me, Iran will start. There isn't such. I don't feel like there is such. What's the word? Angst against the West as there used to be. So we're going to, what's the word when they start. Showing their power or whatever they want to do. To me, it's a lot of talk. So if we can just continue, if that diplomacy in the background continues, then I can see an easing of relationships. Yes, there is always that threat of nuclear weaponry and bombing, but, why would they do that? Why would anyone in their right mind do that? Now, if we talk about North Korea, there's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, and we also found out that, with the newly elected lady president of Taiwan, she's not very friendly towards China, and there seems to be feathers being ruffled in that arena as well. So it seems that on the if you're looking at the globe and you look to the left-hand side of North America, you have what's going on in Korea, you have what's going on in China, you have what is going on in Taiwan. And then on the other side of the Great Pond, on the other side of the Atlantic, we have the Middle East, and we have all the strife and all the turmoil that's happening in Europe and the Middle East. It seems that North America is part of a sandwich between the West and the East.
Well, I guess if we would start minding our own businesses a little bit better, we mightn't be the sandwich in the middle. But anyway, that's just an opinion.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. It seems that for some reason there are nations who need to put their noses into everyone else's business, and I think that this is a catalyst for problems. Instead of everyone reaching out, trying to understand and respect everyone else, you just can't force yourself on people. As a kid, my mother would tell me, you have to do this, and I was a revolutionary way back then. I would say no, and I would do the exact opposite because she was telling me to do it. But yet, if she asked me to do it, I would give her 150%. And I learned that lesson with my children. You know, for example, let's take one of the girls, Stephanie. Stephanie, would you mind doing this for Dad? Because I would really appreciate it. So would you mind doing it? No, not at all. Mind you, if I said, Belinda, do that, Belinda would, no.
Yep, I learned that too.
Yeah.
whenever you say don't do it, it's usually the opposite happens. So,
being in Australia, you know, everybody loves Australia. I've never talked to anyone who does not like Australia. Like, you people are super friendly. You are super cool people. Besides, you gave us Crocodile Dundee. You gave us the Didgeridoo. You gave us Ralph Harris. You gave us Foster beer.
Yeah, well.
I love you guys, and I've never been there, but how do you celebrate the new year? This is what I was getting at. You know, like, we watch it on TV. There's beautiful effects. You know, there's beautiful fireworks in the Sydney Harbour over the beautiful opera house you have there. But as an individual, how do you and your husband and your family celebrate New Year's?
Well, it just so happens that New Year's Day is my daughter's birthday.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to you. What's your daughter's name?
I worked that one well for her, didn't I?
What's your daughter's name?
So this year...
Wait a sec. What's your daughter's name? What's your daughter's name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Cheryl?
So Cheryl is one of those, she's a life of the party girl, actually. She
like her
loves
mother.
parties.
Yeah. Like her mum, eh?
I don't know about that, but she can be the life of the party.
Well,
and likes having a beer. She enjoys her beer.
Well, I'm going to have a beer after the show tonight, but what I'd like to do right now is wish Cheryl a very happy birthday from everyone here in the X Zone and the X Zone audience around the world.
I'll tell her.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a birthday guy. I love celebrating people's birthdays because whenever somebody has a birthday, it means that they have done something special, whether they know it or not, in the past year that very rarely gets recognized by everybody else.
Yes. Well, Cheryl, to me, I'll talk a little bit about her because she is one of the most amazing young ladies that I've met. And she had cancer.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry to hear that.
She was only 26 at the time. And she had a tumour that was growing near her heart, and they had to take part of her lung off. Oh, so she was a very sick girl for a long time. But, you know, her attitude was that she said to me, Mum, don't worry, I'm not going to die, everything's fine. And her attitude to life, even though she went through an extremely difficult time at that, you know, all those years ago, she was just, her attitude and her love for everybody else was amazing. And she's helped a lot of people. And, I look at her as a bit of a hero. I look at both my daughters as heroes, but, you know, like, it's just amazing what she went through, how she's come out of it, and how she doesn't ever just talk about she doesn't often pull out what I call a cancer card.
Yeah.
But, you know, when people think they're at the worst end, she can bring them back and just give them hope and love, you know. So she's an amazing young lady.
Well, once again, happy birthday, Cheryl. So, besides celebrating your daughter's birthday, here in North America, one of the traditions that I was introduced to by my dad was that at the stroke of midnight, he opens up the front door to let in the new year and runs to the other side of the house, God bless him, and opens the back door to let the old year out.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What a great idea.
I
did that, actually. I think that happened because we were up and we had all the doors open. So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Never thought of it like that. That's excellent.
Yeah. So you know what? It seems that there are so many traditions around the world. What other traditions do you have in Australia?
Oh, I think we just like most Westerners. We like partying. We like going on barbecues. I had a fairly traditional meal. We had turkey and ham and chicken, and we had all sorts. We had a feast, actually. So it was a bit of fun.
That's great. Something else that I'd like to ask you for your psychic input. Do you remember Malaysian Flight 370, where they were looking for the flight off the coast of Australia?
Yes.
Whatever happened to that? Do you foresee any conclusion coming to that? Any finality for the families of those passengers and crew?
I think they all have to accept that they're all passed over, and that, you know, that they need to close. They need to let their loved ones go now, and to move on, because it was very sad, and but it seems to me to be obvious that it went into the Indian Ocean, which is a very deep ocean. Yeah. So it could be anywhere out there. It remains, you know.
You know, it's. I understand that they should let go, but how do people get closure in a case like that? Like, they're always wondering, what if they are alive on one of the many islands? What if they were taken by some nefarious force and forced to land at a secret airbase? And, you know, with so many conspiracy theories, with so much garbage out there on the internet, God bless these people. You know, it must be so hard for them to get that closure that they so rightfully desire and deserve.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at, to me, they've got to start being realistic within themselves. Mm-hmm. They have to let it go, because it's no good for them. And it's all about, I feel that they have to start forgiveness, you know, forgiveness of what happened and who was responsible, and all of that. It's very difficult to give up someone that you love, and being here one day and gone the next. But, you know, it's in that letting go. And I mean, after all this time now, it's, you know, they must have an understanding that no matter what happened to them, because we won't actually know what happened to them, and I've got no feelings about that, then all they can do is just let that go. They've got to be real and know that they've passed on. I don't believe they're alive anyway. That's my feeling.
Now, as a spiritual and psychic medium, you know, can those with the ability to contact the other side validate that they have in fact passed over?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, if you cannot guarantee who you're going to bring forward when you do messages, but that doesn't mean to say it won't happen. And I believe that if one of those people were to go to a medium and to see if they could find closure, they would find that, you know. Yeah. So they would find the answers they need.
You know, with the work you've done over the past 25 years, helping so many people, what have you learned about the other side that you can share with us?
Well, you know, to me, we are eternal. Mm-hmm. So as eternal beings, whatever happened in the past and whatever happens in the future and wherever we are now, we are the one being. And to me, it's about that, not to concern yourselves so much with what happened in the past, what happened in the future, but to live each day now, because this is where we are. We are here on this plane at the moment to learn our lessons, to develop ourselves spiritually, to work towards being a better person, whatever that is. Because when we cross over, when we go into the summerland, we're still learning. We're still the same person, and we have to work towards becoming even better, and because to reach heaven it's the 7th level. So to reach heaven, or the heavenly bodies, as we would say, it's a long journey.
Is it a never-ending journey, or is there some time where the soul, the spirit, receives the what's the word I'm looking for here? The word from the great
Creator.
beyond, the Creator, that you have learned your lesson. It is now time for you to reap the rewards of the work you have done.
I can't answer that, actually, Rob, because I don't know. Because once you reach that heavenly, that heavenly force, what comes after that? You know, who knows? I don't know. And I still think there's the mysteries of life, you know. So
we're getting a lot of sound coming from your end. It sounds as if wind or there's movement over there.
Yeah, actually, I'll just shut the door.
Oh, okay. My God, did you shut it or did you kick it down?
No, just slid the door across.
Oh, okay. I thought she was going to close the door. It sounded like Rambo was knocking the door down.
One of those sliders.
I see. What has been the one experience that you have had, and if you can share it with us, without breaking confidentiality or without making yourself feel uncomfortable, that has touched you more than any other spiritual work that you've done?
I've learned over the years that I don't know if I can pinpoint one.
Okay.
Because I've always had a knowing, I suppose, and I guess it's when you I guess I had I had a reading with a young man came to see me, and he was from Brazil,
right?
And he came in. It was just at our church, and it was a 10-minute reading. And in that 10 minutes, I was able to bring through like all his family. He was so overwhelmed and so happy, and he was crying that much. It was just very touching to see, because he was homesick. You know, all of that played into everything that came through, and it was at that moment that you realise that to be able to comfort someone when they're a little lost and alone, what it does, well, for me anyway, it just gives me a feeling of I don't know, joy perhaps, or peace, that you can actually help someone and have a meaning for it. And I guess this is where healing comes into it, you know. I've seen things where healing has happened spontaneously.
Right.
And the joy that's in those people at that time gives you such... It just gives you that feeling of, well, rightness, if I can say it like that.
Do you think that you were sent to this very time in the time-space continuum with the mission of helping people using your very special gifts?
Well, I guess so. I've been doing things since I was 16. Mm-hmm. So that's a long time. So I guess so. Who knows?
So you've been doing this for 6 years now.
Since I was 16.
Well, that's what I said, 6 years. So you're 22 now.
Right, okay. Good. I like you, Rob. Actually, I don't care about my age.
You're only as old as you feel. And
yeah, I'm only 20 in my mind.
there you
my
go.
body mightn't think it, but
Well, you know that old saying, if you confess it, you will possess it. So if you think you're 20 in your mind, and I say you're 22,
Okay.
we both can't be wrong.
True, that's true.
Yeah. Communicating with the other side, what do they tell you it's like where they are now? Is it like we picture, clouds and people with big wings and white cloaks and playing the harp and sitting around on clouds and doing nothing all day?
See, it's different. You can't compare it to our reality.
Right.
Because it is what is in their thoughts that creates things. So if they want that, they can have that, I believe. And this is what we've been told over the years, different things that have been said. So they can have whatever you like over there. It is so, it's so different. It is very hard to explain, but it's really, time is nothing over there. So there's no such thing as time. So I guess that's why you can go backwards and forwards. You can go to the future, you can go to the past, because there's no such thing as time. And I guess it's just how they are. Mm-hmm. It's so different to what we're used to. That's all I know. And from the explanations that I've seen over the years, and from what Spirit has said in our various circles, it is just different and more, and everything we expect.
Speaking about the other side, I was very sad to hear today where Glenn Fry, one of the founders of the fantastic group The Eagles, passed. He passed earlier today, and that brought up a question that I wanted to ask you. When somebody passes, do they pass right away, or do they stay around for a little while to make sure that everyone on this side is okay before they start their trip to the other side, or do they watch everything from the other side?
See, I believe it's a transition. So when you cross over, mm-hmm. that transition, there might be healing that you have to go through, and not talking physical healing, because that's gone, obviously, but of the mind and of the, of the grief that you've got, because when they pass, they're going to grieve and miss their loved ones that they've left behind. So it's a two-way street. And sometimes they'll stay around for a little while, but generally they do move on, and there's always someone to greet them, to help them move forward. I've always had, I call her my lady, and to me she is a being that helps people cross over. Mm-hmm. And she's just a glorious being, and it's just like all she does is gives them her hand, and they can see all their other loved ones waiting for them on the other side, so that they feel that they're not alone. Now, the difficulties come for people if they didn't want to go, like they didn't want to die at this time, they had too much to do, and they just didn't want to go. And sometimes they hang around in a void, and until they wake up, I suppose, mm-hmm. that there is the light there for them to go to, and they don't need to be afraid, because that's what it's all about, fear. Fear is what keeps them back. But if they're open and they want to go across with the love that's there, then they can always come back. They will always come back to their loved ones to help them when they're needed. So I know that with when Dennis's mother passed over, and even my mother, but when Dennis's mother passed over, she communicated a lot with my daughter Julie, because Julie was a fearful girl at that time. Mm-hmm. But Julie was able to communicate with the spirit side ever since she was a little girl. And so what Dennis's mum did was helped her grow and develop. And she stayed with her for a couple of years, and then she moved on. But you always know when she's around. She comes back from time to time when there's need. And she was a beautiful person. But, it's amazing when you see them, how they come forward, and that love is still there. What you feel is their loving presence, if I can put it like that.
You and I have to take our short break. Please stand by. Helen, always great talking to you. Exonation, our guest is Helen Rees. Her website is www.eventshelenrees.com. That's www.eventshelenrees.com. And Helen and I will be back on the other side of this short break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And once again, Exonation, we're very proud to say that we are back on the Talkstar Radio Network. I am Rob McConnell. Don't go away. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerrean intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. Manifestation is driven by imagination, intent, and passion. In our culture, all three have been distorted and disabled by modern media and exploitation. Re-engage your imagination and your passion by entering into the world of paranormal romance. Kahira O'Donnell takes her readers on an exciting journey into the endless possibilities of loving, passionate, and mutually respectful male-female relationship. Her latest book, The Long Dark Night, features special ops adventure, a daring rescue, a psychic woman from the stars, and a special agent that will die to protect her. The Long Dark Night by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or Amazon.com.
The X-Zone Radio Show proudly presents Astrology with B.B. Fuffy.
And that astrology is going to be starting next week with the one and only B.B. Fuffy as she makes her gallant return because she has done so well in school that I've decided to let the little one back. Because, number one, you, the X-Zone Nation, love her. Number two, she's my kid. Number three, she's bugging the hell out of me. That's honesty. So there you go. B.B. Fuffy makes her, let's not use triumphant because that'll go to her head. But anyway, she's going to be back with us starting next week. This hour, X-Zone Nation, I have my good friend Helen Rees all the way from beautiful Australia with us. Her website is www.eventshelenrees.com. And thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's always a great pleasure talking to you, my good friend.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Rob.
Let's talk about the other side a little bit more because, you know, this is one of the greatest mysteries we have. What happens to us when we die? And I don't look at death as many people do. I look at Mother Nature giving us many, many examples of what death is. My favorite is that I use the analogy of a caterpillar to a butterfly as my example of what I believe happens when you die. When we die, we are, as we live, we are the caterpillar. As we get ready to cross over, we spin a cocoon. And when the transition that life ends on this side, and we go to our next part of the journey, we emerge as butterflies. How close is this to the information that you've been able to receive from the other side?
See, to me, we're the same person. Mm-hmm. So, with all our imperfections and everything else that we've had. So, I don't know that we change so much as we're just in a different place. So that's how I look at it. It's like we've put a little wall between us and Earth, so to speak. So, but when we cross over, mm-hmm. we can transcend into that.
But what happens when we transfer over? Are we given? Do we go through a debriefing? Do we go through an educational process? Are we given the opportunity to do other things? And if so, what's the sense of reincarnation?
Well, reincarnation to me, what is reincarnation? So I'm a bit of a fence sitter with that. But okay. To me, we're the same person, so we cross over, and we may choose to come back. There's a lot to be said that we can choose to come back. So, and that might be because we want to learn something else, to learn another lesson that we haven't quite got yet. So, or we want to come back to help in a certain area, to grow and develop that particular area that we might like to be in, just to if we come back. But crossing over just means we've just moved into another place, you know, we've moved house, so to speak. So that's how I see it.
Well, based on the communication that you've had with the other side, what do they tell you happens?
So I've never really, and I've never really discussed that with them, what happens. Okay. All I know is that, well, I have. That's not true. But it's just that you're not always talking about that okay. sort of thing when you're communicating with them. But I guess what happens is we just move. I can't explain it any more than we're just moving across to the other side. And within that, we will gain healing. We have to get some healing because we've just, most of us, not very often, but most do we get off scot-free and just pass over with the click of a switch. Mm-hmm. But if we've been ill, then we receive healing for that. It had to get our mind and our hearts and everything else in the right space for us to be able to help others.
In your opinion, what is the reason for life? Why are we here?
Good question.
I've been known for good questions.
Well, why are we here? I like being here, so I actually don't care why we're here, mm-hmm. because I'm learning and developing and seeing things. It's different here in this reality. So I guess I feel that it's difficult to do the things that we would like to do over on the other side as they would like to do here. And that's why people choose to come back. But what is our purpose? Our purpose is to grow and develop and be the best person we can possibly be.
Exonation, my guest this hour is Helen Rees, and we're talking to Helen about her 25 years of being a spiritual and psychic medium. Do you think that spirituality is on an increase and that more and more people are looking to spirituality for answers instead of elsewhere?
Yes, I do. And it's not religion, it's spirituality. So it's different. And so it's there, and I'm seeing it in the younger set, so the Gen Ys, the Gen Xs, as they call them. You can see that they're seeking answers, mm-hmm. but they're not interested in going to church or in that being in the religious. And it's only as you get older that you tend to do things like that. That's what I feel.
Do you think that religion has run its course?
No, if you look at the Muslims, I don't think so. If you look at what being a Muslim is and how widespread it is, and look at Christianity and being a Catholic or whatever other religion you are, I don't believe so. They don't go to church as such, but I guess it's that upbringing that you have that keeps you there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense.
You know, like it's to me, I don't think religion is going to go away because it's a place of prayer, isn't it? Some people find it difficult to pray on their own. But, you know, well, I know it's easy, but some people think, yeah, I'll need to go to church. You know, I need to show my respect, I suppose, to God and to spirit, or in some ways, you know.
What do you think the next step in our spiritual evolution is? Not going to the other side, but while we're on this side.
What's our next step?
Yeah.
Wow.
Another good question?
Technology is going to expand so quickly that some of us are going to be left behind because we will have to keep up, and that's where the young people will come into it because they're growing up with technology. Yeah. But I think technology and maybe going out to space and doing all of those things will be the really big next step that we're going to make.
Do you think that there will be anything found during space travel and the exploration to the other planets and eventually to other stars, that will be earth-shattering to spirituality?
No.
No.
No. Because what is the difference? There's nothing. There's no difference. We might...
Are you there, Helen? Craig, did we lose Helen? It seems that we lost Helen. Oh, well, another guest abducted by extraterrestrials here in the X Zone. Well, Craig is going to try and get a hold of Helen, but we've got to go to our commercial break anyway. So while we do that, we will try and get Helen back with us, X Zone Nation. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 800-610-7035. Thank you, Craig. That was very nice of you. 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media, X Zone Radio TV, and our radio website at www.xzoneradio.com. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from, 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight. Whoa, I was looking at the wrong clock. Wrong area. Well, geez. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Whatever you do, don't go away, and we'll try and find out what happened to Helen Rees. Don't go away.